Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this Monday's Wealth Creation Show. Now, today we're going to talk about lifestyle versus legacy. This is quite a good follow-on for what we spoke about last week, Jim. We had the topic of wealth preservation last week on the Wealth Creation Show. So this kind of follows on quite nicely from it, and really brings the question up for people watching, what do you want to actually do with your wealth? I mean, it might seem like a pretty simple question, but have any of you actually really considered that? No, yeah. So like maybe people think, oh, I want a lot of wealth and I want all this money, but what are you actually going to do with it? What's the purpose? And maybe
I have a sneaking suspicion. Quite a few people actually don't realise they're convinced that they want the money.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realise what they need the money for.
Yeah.
They just want it because it's there or because potentially they can get it.
Mm-hmm.
But they've not got any overriding reason why they need to have it. That tends to be the people that actually drift from place to place, or the people that end up possibly, I don't know, kind of lost in translation, if that makes sense. They're not really sure what they're doing because they've got the money, but they realise now that they don't really need to bother about anything else. They don't need to work. They don't need to make an effort on anything. They could just be themselves. They could just roam free. And it sounds idyllic, but having a sense of purpose is, I think, is the most important point to us as human beings. And it's that sense of purpose that will drive us forward more than actually the money. So this is why I talk about all the time about learn to love the process and learn to love the journey more, because that is the one you'll spend most time on, not the results. I'll guarantee you, when you get to the results, you'll then realize it wasn't as great as what you thought it was going to be. And if you've not enjoyed the journey to get there, then you'll not want to do it again. So you have to learn to enjoy the journey, and the results will come as a natural process and byproduct of that. If you look at the other way around, if you don't love the journey and the results come anyway, you'll probably not do it again.
Yeah.
And you'll have regret. This is possibly why a lot of people look back and regret, and they start to regret what they've done because they've realised what they've. Here it comes. What they've missed out on. The school sports days.
While trying to do all that, yeah.
Yeah. The musical recitals at school for their children, their first day at school, all these different things, the parents' nights. These are all the things that make a fundamental difference. When you get to my age, these are all the things that actually do matter. It's not the money.
Yeah.
The money doesn't matter. It's the journey. It's the journey, but the experiences you've had as a result of the journey. Would I have done anything different? Absolutely not. Because if I had done anything different, I might not have Elaine. I might not have Tony, Ben, or Scott. So hence the reason why I wouldn't do anything different. I would still go through all the pain and the torment I did to get where I am so far.
Because you wouldn't want your life to be different from what it is now.
Absolutely.
Especially in those aspects, yeah.
And I might have been there quicker. So, but I wouldn't look back and regret and think if I'd done this, I would have been there quicker, because there's more important things that I just mentioned, important to me. To hell with it quicker.
Yeah.
To hell with it quicker. I don't want it. And now it's more about for me personally, it's the legacy. But it's a lifestyle enjoying as well. It's like I don't take things too seriously now, because we've got to a certain point. And I don't have I've realised after when I'm reaching surrounded by idiots about, different personalities.
Yeah.
I've realised that I've transitioned a bit from a blue, which is very, very analytical, entrenched in analytics, no flexibility at all, doom and gloom about everything, to actually being a bit more yellow, outgoing, dare I say, more flexible in the way I do things, more more, well, it doesn't really matter much in the bigger picture. You get a bigger picture sort of scope on this.
Yeah.
So for me, your probably question is what do you want for your wealth?
Yeah.
It's probably is actually to be like this, to have that, and to have, I'm classic example, Lanzarote for diving this week when we go on it. So I'm at Lanzarote diving, Miami cruise, Necker Island next month.
Yeah, that's coming in November. Yeah.
My house in Spain the month after in December, and then who knows for January, February, March, I might never be here. when's this guy ever going to work?
It's true though, and people that watching, I mean, there might be a mix of people watching us today and listening, and some of you might have, various investments and things and money tied up, or some of you might be completely at the start of your journey. But what's the end game? Have you thought about that, and what's all the money for? And have you actually teed yourself up for that ultimate goal and things? I mean, like you say, I mean, what do you actually want is the question. And we spoke a lot last Monday about leaving a legacy and preserving your wealth for that handover and things. And I think that's what's possibly going to be the thing that's on a lot of people's minds when they're thinking about their wealth and their family, and they want to be able to think, right, when I'm not here, what I've done will look after them, and potentially their children after that, and so on. And I know that's a big part of what your plan is and what your kind of end game was.
What's my greatest fear?
What is your greatest fear? What is your greatest fear?
It was all for nothing.
Yeah.
If I've got no grandkids, which I've not got there now, that's all for nothing. Because that's the whole point.
To be able to pass on.
So I've built a legacy. I'm gonna make sure it's going to be passed on, and then that's the end. What happens now? I've done all that. I've gone through all that for nothing. Now I'm not being like, or I'm not putting it on my children and the fact that how dare you. What I'm meaning is like it could end up being a regret, because it's like I could have had more enjoyment out of this. I could have done all the things I wanted, the other things I wanted to do, the sacrifices I made earlier on. I could have just taken them. Only time will tell, though. I am not bitter about the hand that's been dealt to me and how I've played it. Only time will tell. And this is why you have to be centered in between and comfortable in your own skin. This is what we call, since 2016, and there's been a self-love sort of thing. It's popped up. Everybody's talked about self-love and how important it is and all the rest of it. And it's true. You really have to come to terms with who you are, and you really have to have a healthy relationship and love for yourself, or how are you meant to love other people?
Yeah. I think if you can't have that feeling towards yourself, how are you actually ever going to properly be able to have that feeling for somebody else truly? So yeah.
However, I have a master plan. And the master plan is, if it's not my lot, it'll be my brother's lot.
So then at least
if they're watching this show, they'll be going, flipping heck, happy days. It's like, because I've never discussed it with them at all, and I've never told anybody. I'm not doing what Ricky Gervais does and take them aside one at a time and say, do you know I'm going to leave the whole lot of this to you? Because that's what Ricky Gervais says he does. He says, I take each one of them aside individually, and I just say to them, it's all going to be left to you. Don't worry. Oh dear.
So do you think you're obviously talking about things that you're doing recently and in the near future and things that you've always wanted to do? So do you think it's important to have a balance between still enjoying your life but still having the ability to leave something for your legacy and for your kids, and indeed probably possibly even charities or whatever? We spoke about that last week as well. So how do you find that balance from enjoying without overspending?
This is quite interesting. I've got a graphic on my phone, and I'm going to send it to me, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen in a wee while. I'm just going to send it to my email, and I'll bring it up on the screen because I'll have to do it that way. But let me talk about this, about enjoying it more. So my mentors, the one thing I always remember, and I have talked about it previously, about you never want to get to the point where you can't enjoy what you've just accumulated or built.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that, it's like I never pictured myself trying to chase a lane along the beach with my Zimmer frame.
Yeah.
You know, I never want, that's the sort of thing you'd never want to get to. And it's like, by the time you caught her, you wouldn't know what to do
Hmm.
because you've
Yeah.
probably forgotten because you're that
Yeah.
old.
Oh. Yeah.
You're maybe not capable anymore. You never know. That's the sort of thing that always haunted me about leaving it far too late. Hence the reason why when I hit 50, do you call it a midlife crisis? It's like, no, another one. I hear it. I
Well, I
get
thought I'd already done
a
that.
lane sight for the distance. No, another one. It's like, how many do you need? It's like, but I think we all have certain periods in our life and points in our life where it becomes poignant, and the proverbial shit hits the fan,
Yeah.
and we then think to ourselves, is this it?
What am I doing? Or is this all? Is this it?
Is
Yeah.
this it for the rest of my life? Classic example: relationships. Am I going to spend the rest of my life with that person once the kids are
Mhm.
gone? I don't even like that person now. I don't even like who that person's become. Now, I'll be honest. In relationships, you have to realize that they will evolve your relationships. You have
Yeah.
to then work on it, getting it back to what it was before when you first met that person, because that's what you saw in them in the first place, and that's why you were attracted together. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, life happened before you, and you didn't have a choice. It just happens to you, and you just have to deal with it at that time, whether you like it or not. And that's how couples end up separating,
Yeah.
and having their own different focus on where they should be going and what they should be doing. But
They
then
end
when the
up
kids
leading
leave,
different lives. Yeah.
that's why they look at each other and go, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
That's the point you have to understand. It happens to everybody. Everybody goes through it. It's
Mhm.
nobody's unique in this situation. When the kids leave, you then have to take stock of where you are right now, and then you have to rebuild your relationship with the person you were always with. Why would you want to go and change that?
Mhm.
Why would you want to go into the unknown
And
again?
start from
You just,
scratch all over again.
I
Yeah.
just want to crave the excitement. Why would the
A lot of
biggest
people
thing,
do it though.
the biggest wealth destroyer, anybody said, the biggest wealth destroyer is actually when couples separate.
Mhm.
The last thing you want to do. Elaine and I have had our times, and there's, at times I said, well, that's fine. We'll just run the businesses as they are. We'll no divide assets or anything like that. I'm
Mhm.
happy to just leave it as it is. If you really want everything, just have everything. And she's going, no, if you really want everything, have everything. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, we'll just leave it as it is and we'll see how we go. And then it's just naturally we've just got through it because we've worked at it.
Yeah.
But I think these are the lessons that you learn in your life in order to teach your children. It's so important that you lead by example. Whatever you do, your children are actually going to replicate you, by the way.
Mhm.
Whatever you do, they'll be exactly the same for you. They'll just copy you. How do I know that? Do you know how I know that? I remember when I was about 6 or 7 years old, I saw my mother and father smoking,
Mhm.
and that's why I tried smoking. And they were dumbfounded that I was caught because it was like I was 6 year old. I think I chucked this cigarette under the bed. I can't remember much about it, but obviously it was lit when they walked upstairs and it burnt the carpet. And they were just dumbfounded at the fact that why were you doing it? And like at that time, I couldn't rationally explain to them. It's because, well, you're doing it, and I obviously look up to you, and
Copying, yeah.
you're the person that I admire because you're my mother and father. So if you're doing it, and I want to be like you, then why wouldn't I smoke as well?
Yeah.
See what I mean? Your children and the people round about you who respect you will do exactly what you're doing because you're doing it. So you better be ethical in terms of what
Mhm.
you're doing. Plus the fact, if you lead by example, guess what your children will end up learning? To lead by example.
Yeah.
Now, you're not putting pressure on them, remember. You're not asking them to be you. They're just seeing you do that. That's all. People will more replicate other people that they see what they're doing. This is a classic example. If you grow up in an environment of criminality, and that's all you know, then you think that's perfectly normal. So when you go into somewhere else, into another society, and everybody's ethical and there's no criminality, you're then completely out of water, because
Mhm.
you're thinking, wait a minute,
This is
why
not
is
what I'm
no
used to.
why is nobody robbing everybody? Why is
Yeah.
nobody stealing? Why is nobody, doing this? And why is nobody, trying to kill each other? That's the extreme. That's how they come out that background. So you it's like everything. Your children will do what you do yourself. So if you plan for the future and you build wealth as a result, and you build it in certain sectors, and you build a company, and you work hard, but more importantly work smart and continuously learn, your children will probably end up seeing that as well and replicate some of that, not all of it. They
No.
never do.
It'd be very difficult to get somebody to completely replicate everything that you've done
Yeah.
previously. I mean, you couldn't expect that of anybody, I don't think. But
Here's
at
a
least
great
if they
example.
pick
Here's
up
a
the
great
majority.
example, as I said, and there you go. There you go. Here you go. Struggle now,
Hmm.
enjoy life later on.
Yeah.
Enjoy your life now in the early days, and you're going to struggle for the rest of your life. It's a great analogy, eh?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. For the people that just throw caution to the wind and go, well, I'm on this planet for a short period of time, I may as well just blow it while I've got it. Like, that's just an excuse for your foolishness. That's all.
Yeah.
Making somebody else responsible, saying, oh, well, Elvis died at 42-year-old with a heart attack. All right, Elvis took drugs as well, but at the same time,
Yeah.
that's why he died at 42-year-old. And plus the fact
Aye.
he did a hell of a lot more than you did.
In that short period of time.
Aye.
Yeah.
So if you do what he's doing, then by all means, you could have the lifestyle he probably didn't have.
And the legacy that he's left.
Yeah, as a result. And that's what it is. Everybody wants the results, but nobody wants to pay the price. And for anyone, they have to decide the price. They have to come to terms with themselves, against self-love, about the price
Mhm.
that they want to pay, but also the sacrifices they want to make, because you will have to make sacrifices, let's be honest. You do.
I think it's
I-
interesting that when you were talking about relationships and things, and obviously if and a relationship or a partnership and things like that you have, and you work together building wealth, and do you know what, it could take obviously over the long term, and it could take its toll, or you could or life just happens, and then all of a sudden, like you say, kids grow up, blah blah blah, and then you look at each other and then part ways without trying to fix it, and that is where obviously all your assets get divided, and you just kind of scrap it all and start from scratch again. So, I mean, that happens so often, and you see it happen so often. And I've seen it happen to people close to me and things, and it's like you're just going to start from scratch all over again. So that was really interesting for.
I know. It, yeah, you're right. Some people actually do that.
Mhm. And it's
But
like they
that's
think
the
that's the best option. In some cases,
yeah.
it maybe is, but I think in general terms, people
Well,
don't give it a chance.
look at my career progression in the beginning.
Mhm.
So when I first started out, I was a window cleaner when I left school. No
Yeah.
formal qualifications. I hadn't really stuck in at school. I didn't really make an effort. I was asked to leave school. I went to work with my dad. My mum says, for God's sake, don't go to work with your dad. So I went to work with my dad. I spent a couple of years with my dad as a window cleaner, as an industrial cleaner, cleaning the floors on the machine at John Menzies and Woolworths and Cooper
Yeah.
and Leavin, doing the windows in the East Nuke, the Crow's Nest and places like that, and 16, 17, 18 years old. And I thought that was it. I kind of thought, well, I'm okay with that. Have squabbles with my dad every now and again. I want to build a company, typical family company, where the youngster thinks they know best and they're the pioneers
Yeah.
and they want to look at the vision. And my dad used to turn around to me all the time and say, when you're in charge, you can make the decisions.
Mhm.
Until then, I'm making the decisions. And I never used to like that, because I wanted to take over the world at that time. So it was quite difficult. What made it even more difficult was my brother worked in the same company,
Mhm.
and we were very competitive with each other. and neither of the twain shall meet, and we were extremely competitive with each other. So hence the reason why fell by the wayside, relationship broke down, I had to leave the house, I was out of job, and then I thought, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I
That,
think for
that was the
me,
turning point for you.
well, sliding door moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
RAF beckoned, got to the final interview for the RAF, and thank God the squadron leader never actually accepted me. And then I thought, what am I going to do now?
That would have
I
been a
tell you what,
completely different life journey. Yeah.
I'll go back to college. I'll go back to college. So I went back to college. And I studied and I studied, and I realised that I excelled in accountancy. And after a period of time, I was very analytical. I never realised I was like that, but it was very analytical and detailed and analysis and all the rest of it. But I was also very disciplined and consistent about what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. So I stuck in, I paid a price, 3 years, nurse certificate, HND, to get even a foot in the door as a trainee accountant. And even when I got a foot in the door as a trainee accountant, everybody used to say to me, "You're kind of a bit old for a trainee accountant." as if you've been naturally coming out of school, and just coming out of school straight away
What
as an
age were you
18-year-old be a trainee accountant. Yeah, I was like 20, early 20s.
Yeah.
So you're kind of old to be a trainee accountant. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Like, is there an age limit? Like, I think it was more, you're kind of old, we might have to pay you a lot more than we expected to. I think that was it, really. Yeah, definitely. So luckily enough, I got the right job, and it was Balfours and Leaving, and I started from there and made everything more efficient. And that was the price I started to pay. But then I realised it's like, wait a minute, this isn't going to set me free. And then from there, I started to realise out of that I need to build something else that's going to actually create wealth for me. Luckily enough, my mentors came along at that point in time. Network marketing taught me a lot, taught me about books, functions, upline, in other words, mentors, and listening to podcasts, which was tapes at that time on your your cassette player in the car. And these were the four wheels on the car that I then got onto what they called the superhighway. Does this sound familiar as what we teach just now on wealth creation? The superhighway.
Yeah.
It's like there's no longer a jungle anymore. They've cut that all down. They've got the books, the tapes, the functions, and upline and support and everything. It goes, and you're on a superhighway. All you need to do is follow the system. And this is why we came up with the Financial Freedom Blueprint, because I've followed it for years, and it works.
We've done the show on that.
No brainer. But you get people out there coming back to your initial thing about serial entrepreneurs. Oh, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm not a serial entrepreneur. I'm just a business person, and all I do is start new ventures, create companies, and I don't look to do something out of the box. I just look at something and actually make it better, or what I perceive as better and a better customer experience, and actually be able to deliver a better service and get a better reward for it than everybody else gets for that reason. And I started to do that, and that's where that all came about. I loved houses and still love houses because you're not really dealing with anybody as such. You're dealing with a tenant, and then you just let them get on with it, and that's it. Great. It's a slow burner, isn't it? But it makes money and it creates wealth. And it's like planting the seed in an orchard and growing the orchard. And then instead of actually eating the apples, just plant all the apples again and plant more seeds and plant and grow a bigger orchard. And then instead of eating any of the apples, you just keep doing it. But there comes a point where you think to yourself, wait a minute, I can't eat some of the apples. Let's be honest.
Actually have some of these apples, yeah.
I can't eat some of the apples and I can't enjoy myself to a degree. And that's when you get to about 50 and you realise it's like, this is not a dress rehearsal. And you ain't coming
reality
back.
Check. Yeah.
Yep. You're going one time round. It's not dress rehearsal and you aren't coming back. What are you going to be remembered for?
Well,
what's your kids going to remember you for? What's your kids going to think of you? And the last thing I wanted to do was have my kids think he's a loser, he's a drunk, he's a bum.
Yeah, and that was one of the questions I was going to, and it's like, obviously you got to that point and it's like, well, why did you want to leave a legacy? And I know the answer to that question in your part is obviously you've just said it, obviously thinking about your kids and how they'll remember you and what you leave for them. It might be different for other people. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what other people think if they want to jump in the comments. I mean, if they're thinking about if they're generating wealth and thinking about what kind of legacy they want to leave, why are they leaving it, and what do they want to leave? Is it to leave for charity? They might not have kids at all, or do you know, there might be several different options. But for you, Jim, it was your children.
Yeah, defining moment when we had Tony.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was that. You know, the famous Roots moment when you hold them up, hold them up to the moon, and I vow to look after you for the rest of my life and generations to come, and all the rest of it. It was like, honestly, it was like that for me when I was in that ward. When Elaine wasn't there and I was alone with Tony, I just thought, I just vowed to her I would look after her for the rest of her life and make sure she never, ever had to want for anything. And I don't mean I'll give her everything. I mean, never ever have to struggle like I did.
Paved the way for her to be able to live a lot more comfortable.
And a lot of people out there will say, but surely the struggle is what they've got to go through to get where they're wanting to go. And my answer to that is no. They should be standing on the shoulders of giants. In other words, your success, they should start off from that point and not try to recreate what you've just done, because they'll just get what you've got. And if you know where you want it to be, then they're going to be exactly the same place where you are and at your age. What's the point of that? It's like, teach them how to do something now to even get partially started from where you are, so they can get a bit further forward later on. And then they teach the next generation and the next generation. And then 5 or 6 generations. I know this is like, we talked about this the other day. It's like, this is daft thinking, because you're not going to be here anyway. You'll be dead, and it'll not make any difference because you'll never know. But I just love the idea in 5 or 6 generations from now, people look back and go, holy shit, where did this all start? And it's with me. That's what I love. I love that.
But then, even though you're not going to be here, I mean, if you're going to leave a legacy and things, I mean, you will continue to kind of make those contributions in those future years and help your future generations and, you know, implement these kind of life lessons and things that you gained, and they'll still be then imprinted onto your next generations because you've set it up that way.
Well, what do you think the wealth creation show's for?
That's what this is. Yeah, definitely.
It's the information and the legacy that we've gained. So if this is still around, if YouTube's still around in 100 years' time, my next generations could be watching this right this very minute in 100 years from now and going, holy shit, he was right.
From the grave.
Aye, he was right. My great granddad was right. It's like, look what he's done, and he was right. Look what it is.
Yeah.
Or they might say that boy was a blooming capitalistic shite.
Yeah,
because it might have all changed by then. 5 or 6 generations down for now, everybody might be on the same income. Nobody might work for money. Everybody can just work for the sake of working in order for the help of mankind. And the utopian world is
expected to be
Star
like
Trek. It's the sort of Star Trek thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, it's like nobody in Star Trek says, I've not got enough money to buy food, have I? Nobody from Star Trek says, I've not got enough money to go on a holiday, you know, or do an onshore thing on another planet. Nobody says that ever. Nobody says they're skint.
Yeah.
And I think in my mind, and if it is watched in 100 years' time, I think that could actually end up happening, to be honest. I think capitalistic system will disappear in 100 years' time.
Do you think so?
Of course it will. Debt is going to go up 6 times in the next 50 years.
Oh, God, that's unreal.
At what point do we just draw a line and say, this is just stupid?
Yeah.
Because income goes up then, right? Debt goes up. Incomes go up. House prices go up. Food prices go up. What? It's just,
where is it going? Yeah.
Aye, we're just manufacturing widgets. We're just producing, we're just making things up. It's like bloody Bitcoin. It's like we're just manufacturing this wealth system out of nothing. It's just we're creating fictitious money.
Yeah. So that actually is quite a thought-provoking thing to think about. And it kind of falls in nicely with what obviously we're talking about lifestyle versus legacy, and we've concentrated a lot on legacy, and because we spoke about it last week in that as well. And you think about lifestyle, and some of the most common responses you get for people when maybe they're embarking on a wealth creation journey or you know, or they're already on it, is I just want to live comfortably. I just want to live comfortably and financially stable. And it's like, again, so what is that to somebody? I mean, that might
Aye.
be totally different from one
So
person
what
to
is
the next.
comfortable?
Yeah, what
It's
is actually?
comfortable to John Caldwell is completely different. The billionaire John Caldwell is completely different than comfortable to somebody that's at the food bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so this is why I keep saying to people, they just do generic statements. I just want to be comfortable. I just want to be well off. Okay, what is well off to you then? Define it.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down. Tell me a number. What is it you need to make every single month or have every single month? Or what do you need in the bank to make you think you're comfortable or well off? What is that figure? And I tell you what, a lot of people actually struggle to come up with that number because they've never ever thought about it like that. They've always just said, it's a classic example of it. I'd love to win the lottery. Okay, what you could do is you'll win the lottery. I'm not really sure.
That far.
I'd quit my job. It's like, but you're not working. It's like, you're not working anyway. So, because that's the normal response, isn't it? I'd quit my job tomorrow. It's like, God almighty, if I won the lottery, well, if I won the lottery, I'd be where I am now anyway. So, and I've not quit my job. So I wouldn't have quit my job. That's pretty obvious then. If I won the lottery, I wouldn't have quit my job. I'd still keep doing what I'm doing. I just love it even more.
Yeah.
This is what people
You're
don't.
doing it because you wanted to do it. Yeah.
This is what a lot of people just do not realize. If you love what you do, you would do it for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. If somebody was giving you enough money to survive and look after yourself and all the rest of it, what would you go and do? What would be the one thing that you'd want to do? And if you're not doing that right now, what's stopping you? Because anything at any point could be monetized in some shape or form. No matter what it is you're doing, it could be monetized and you could earn something out of it. So why are you not doing it?
Yeah.
That's what I keep thinking. It's like, why are you not doing it then? So the object of the exercise for me was, when you said about living comfortably, was really defined in another way, to have choices.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I really wanted. I don't want to be owned and controlled by someone else, aka a boss, or a government, or anybody else for that matter. And I want to be my own person. And I want to be able to say what I want to say on a free platform without having to feel suppressed by what I'm about to say in case I offend anybody. That doesn't mean to say I want to say something that's really controversial.
No,
it just means I'm a person that does not like to be controlled by someone else.
Mm-hmm. And
I like to play second fiddle if I want. I'm very submissive when it suits me to achieve a common goal. And this is, I recognize this, the traits that I have doesn't give off that vibe, because in the past I've had employers say, I'm not really sure if you could work in this position because you've been in such a higher position before. And I used to say to them, I'm a great second fiddle. Now, I got that at Macintosh when I went to Macintosh the first time round. And then the next time round, I actually said it, and Brian Dixon was there. You know Brian?
Yeah.
Brian was the financial director. And it's Brian that brought me in. And, you know, Roy and Willie before were a bit nervous about that because of what they'd said before. But Brian brought me in and says, I'm a great second fiddle. And I played a great second fiddle. I don't bother. I will play the part that's necessary for the common purpose of the objective that we're trying to achieve. I'm not a person that wants to take over as soon as I get in a door. I give ideas and I put forward examples, and I get frustrated sometimes because I know that's the way forward. But when you get a lot more experience under your belt, and you get a lot more educated, and you understand people and how they work a lot more, then you become more tolerant. Maybe Putin's need to take some of that advice.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely.
You become more tolerant of other people. You become more accepting of other people and their circumstances. You don't. The world doesn't work where it's all like you. And if you want to live in a world like that, go and just create your own world somewhere else then. Because welcome to humanity. That's what we're like. We're all different people. You'll never get two people the same. Two people will very rarely think exactly the same all the time. They'll never look the same all the time. They'll never act the same all the time. And that's just the way life is. But I think that's what makes it great. But to experience all that, then you have to keep arming yourself with so much knowledge and so much learning and just become a complete immersive student of life.
Yeah. Yeah, learning's definitely a big part of it. I think anybody's journey, and if you're not continually learning and picking up new things, then you need to think about why that is, and how it's maybe having a negative effect on your progression. Because if you're not learning anything, you're not progressing, or not very far anyway. But yeah, but the living comfortably thing as well. You could argue, like, obviously you showed us that diagram earlier where you struggle now to live a better life later. But people are like, well, I want to live comfortable now. It's like, well, you're going to have to. You're going to you're trying to get the best of both. So when it gets to the end,
you'll pay the price?
Yeah.
Do you know why you'll pay the price? Because people say, I want to live comfortable now. You know why you'll pay the price? Because you're more likely, as the average person, on the same income as everybody else. While they're investing their income in their future, you're spending your income right now. So you've got no investment for the future. So what happens is there comes a point in that time where exactly what I said there, where you see that crossover. And you could cross over one with the other, to be honest. You can cross over that one with this one, the top and the bottom, where the one that struggles and puts money aside for a rainy day gets to that point of readiness where they can actually enjoy the rest of their life because they've got the means and they know how to do it. The one that's just, for want of a better phrase, pissed it up against the wall for the rest of their life, then loses. They've enjoyed it all, but then they begin to struggle because they've got nothing to see them on from there. This is the tortoise, the top one.
Yeah.
This is the hare, the bottom one.
And people might look at that and think, well, I don't want to struggle right now. I think maybe struggle, it depends on your definition of that. I mean, it doesn't mean you need to live in absolute poverty.
Struggle's like living within your means.
Yes, it means
Tom Panos talked about the $1 million estate agent, how $1 million estate agent could be broke and poor. And he explained it. He says, look, you take 40% of your income in tax, and then you've got to pay for your estate agency services, and then you've got to pay for your car, you've got to pay for your house, and all the rest of it. And by the time you know it, you've not got enough to actually get you food at the end of it, because of the lifestyle you've had a result of it. And my answer to that was learn to live within your means, but very well within your means. So live well within your means in the first place, still have a comfortable lifestyle as a result of it. Because remember, it's down to you what you feel, what you perceive as comfort, well within your means, and then what you do from there is then put money aside from the well within your means to actually a savings plan or investment plan for the future. So it compounds over time, and then there comes a point, and it's called a pension, by the way. You can then go, I can retire as early as possible. Home run.
Because you've been investing into that as much as you can.
Of course. But the person that's actually spent all their money and done all that and lived that life of lavishness earlier on is going to pay the price later on. I will do today what others cannot to achieve tomorrow what others will not.
Yeah.
And it's because one's spent their entire life, one's saved their entire life, but then they've got to a point where they could retire earlier and they don't need income anymore because they've got their own income that they've generated as a result of that. But this one down here at the bottom actually then has to generate income for the rest of their life, and they still have to keep doing it. Traditionally, that's the person that trades time for money.
Yeah. And that kind of falls into, and I've wrote in my notes here, and it's like do you know, it's mine and I want to enjoy it, and I want to enjoy it all now. And you see that in people when they have meteoric success. And I think obviously winning the lottery and things are a prime example, or even stars and things that are thrust into their success overnight, and all this money, and they don't know what to do with it, and it's like, and they just blow it all. And then the next thing, they're working at McDonald's, or, you know, something just crazy. They went for one and the total opposite way around it should have been.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're just, I mean,
Well, they live in the 5-star hotels, don't they? They live in the 5-star hotels because they think they deserve it now because they're a pop star.
Mhm.
When I met John Lydon, camper van was out the back.
Yeah.
They just hired a really good luxury camper van, and they're all in that big massive camper bus. That's all they were in, and
Yeah.
they love doing what they're doing because that's their thing. And it's like, why would I want to live in 5-star hotels? I'm with my mates. We're having a great time. You know, this is the thing about camping. People look at me and go, in the middle of nowhere in a camper van, like 981 40-year-old camper van, nothing, no airs or graces about it, out in his mountain bike. And it's like, why, lying on a beach somewhere in the world or visiting some exotic location? It's like, well, I could do that anytime. I just want to do this.
Mhm.
I enjoy doing that. I enjoy it. It's there's some sort of phrase or paraphrase there or something or some example where it's like it's not what you have, it's what you've lived is
Mhm.
probably the most important sort of thing.
Well,
That's
living like that, you're still having enjoyment and living your life without, just spending copious amounts of money
look
just for
at
the sake of it.
look at the people you go and see in Africa sometimes and how happy they are in their own lives.
Barely nothing
And
to
yet,
them.
and yet, you would look at them normally and think, "Oh my God, I could never live like that." But then it's because they don't know any better, and
Mhm.
they're living on experiences. They're with their family. They're with, and so you tell me what's more important to anyone when you get to the end of your life. Is it really the money you've accumulated and the material things you've got, or is it the experiences and the lifestyle you've had with other people and the
Yeah.
interactions with them? And it's probably the interactions with other people and the enjoyment you've had as a result of that.
For me, it would be anyway. But then you get a lot of people that think, well, you can't take it with you, and they've not got family to leave it to, and things, and that's maybe
That's all
their.
right. Throw caution to the wind. Have a great time. I'm a great proponent of that. Why
Yeah.
would you? It's like my mother sitting in her house, like
Mhm.
$500,000. It's like, why just selling that and living in rented accommodation or going to a wee tiny house, like about 150 grand or a 2-bedroom flat and just having a great time?
I think it's down to circumstance as well. I mean, everybody's different in different stages of their life. Where, right, okay, well, if you've got that money, enjoy some of it now, then, or you're a wee bit early in life. If you enjoy your money too much now, you're not going to have anything to live on later.
Again,
So
it's living within your means. So here's
yeah,
the classic example. Dave Ramsey talks about this a lot. Okay.
uh-huh.
So what you do, if you've got 100% of your income, you live on 40%. You have 20% that you, or even, no, just 10%. It's on anything. Every
Mhm.
month, 10% luxuries. That's it. The other 20% you put aside and save, or 30% maybe. So that's the sort of, so you've got a mix there, but you have some sort of fund every single month that you still reward yourself. So you're never at a point where you're denying yourself. But you just know that's your budget for enjoying yourself. You
Yeah.
don't go, tell you what, I'm going to even spend more. It's like, no. I've got 2,000 quid coming in, £200 for nights out, concert, something like that every month. 600, 700 is going to go into pension and savings. Pension is going to be access to later on. Savings is going to be easy access. So you've got it. So you've got money to do. And then the rest is going to be on, this is what I've got to live on day to day.
Yeah.
For things like my car, my mortgage,
The
my
bills
job,
and
all the
food
rest
and
of it. Yeah, that's the sort of thing. So you don't need to deny yourself. You just need to live well within your means. That's all. So you're not denying. It's like, who said in this planet, in this world, what philosopher said you can have everything you want and just go for it? No one.
no.
And who said that's an exact right? It's like there is actually people out there that have this sense of entitlement, like they should be entitled to everything. I can't get a house in St Andrews. Are you working? Oh no,
You're not going to
So
get
how are you
one
going to
there.
get a house in St Andrews?
Yeah,
It's not fair. All these people taking second homes in St Andrews or East Neuk or Leven or anywhere. It's not
yeah.
fair. People shouldn't have multiple homes. And my response to that is, all right, so are you saying that the council and housing associations shouldn't have multiple homes either? Oh, no. It's just people like you. Oh, right. So it's me you've got the problem with.
And then it all comes out.
Yeah. So, and that's it. So
Yeah.
you can, I'm a great person to push people's buttons and
Mhm.
actually let them see exactly the type of person they really are by reflecting back what they're saying to me.
Yeah, and
So,
it's taken that time to think about what they're actually saying and why they're saying it, I suppose.
of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
you shouldn't have all these homes. Okay, so would you like me to evict everybody then? Oh,
I know.
no, don't evict them. It's like, so what do you want me to do then? If I've got multiple homes, sell them all off. Yeah, okay, I'll just evict everybody then. That's what you're telling me.
Mhm.
Is that what you're telling me? Oh well, I never said it. No, I never said that. See
All these
what? So
people, all these
it's
people's
like
homes.
they're
Yeah.
they're quick to jump and they're quick to judge. You get the keyboard warriors. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So I love pushing their buttons and letting them see the type of person they really are and how they really think. It's not me having a go at them. It's me exposing them, and 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 I'm not exposing them to make them look bad. I'm letting them see the true person they really are
Mhm.
by doing that.
And sometimes people don't want to when they get that pointed out to them quite clearly.
Of
That
course they don't.
doesn't really sit well with them. Yeah.
Rubs them up the wrong way. That's why they start arguing with you and they don't like you anymore. That's why they go. That's why they have the Jim Parker hate club. There's somebody out there that's got a Jim Parker hate club. Honestly,
There probably will be.
no,
Yeah.
there is. They've actually said it in a post on the Courier.
Really?
I'm the member of the Jim Parker hate club. And someone says, "Oh," it's like I'll join that as well. And it's like, all right, okay then.
Oh, I must have missed that. That's crazy.
Oh,
Right.
it's
Okay.
hilarious. Yeah, this guy was chocolate to eat himself. That's what another person said. This guy thinks he's the Messiah. It's like, really? I've occupied your mind space. That's what I'm intrigued about. I've
Yeah.
occupied your mind free of charge or free of rent. That's even better. Free of rent. And I've
It's quite
occupied your mind space.
it's quite amazing sometimes when social media platforms and things are the best place to witness it. But
Love it.
how much people could let things occupy so much of their brain and take up so much of their
Yeah.
thinking space and their time. It's like, really?
Do
Like
you know
there's
why?
yeah.
Do you know why? This is lifestyle
No,
legacy. This is touching on a wee bit how you think, because they're so focused on someone else to take the focus off of themselves.
yeah.
Because they're not doing anything, they're not accomplishing anything, and they're not going anywhere, and they don't want to
Admit
recognise it.
it.
So
Yeah.
therefore, they point the finger at someone else. It's
Mhm.
someone else to blame. It's the government. It's my boss. It's my partner. It's my children.
Mhm.
It's my next door neighbour. It's my car. Any excuse will do.
Do you know the perfect example for this? And I've got a lot of nieces and nephews, so I know this. Do you know when you catch a child doing something wrong, the first thing they do when they know they've been caught and they know they're doing wrong, the first thing they do is turn it around like, but they done this and they done this and they done that, and it's like I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about what you just did or what you're doing, but they don't want to acknowledge it or admit it, so they
Yeah.
try and flip it around onto the other person. Yeah,
And that's what still goes on today in adult life,
yeah,
and just in a different shape or form.
yeah, definitely. So,
So
yeah,
you can
that's
throw
quite
caution to the wind. You can spend all you want, but I'll guarantee you will regret it.
Yeah. And if you've got successful investments and created wealth, and you are that mindset where you're like, it's mine, I want to spend it, then that's fine. But probably when you get to the end, do you know, when you've spent all your stuff on maybe, do you know, you see all these people, Instagrammers, and you've spent it on big cars and
Never
trips
going
and
to make you
homes
happy.
and yeah, and all these things, you're going to find out that at the end, eventually you're going to come pretty close to having zero. But
Do
then I
you know what I
suppose you're,
used to say, Richard? Do you know what I
yeah,
used to say? It's never going to make you happy. And some people say it'll never make you happy. And I genuinely used to say, have you tried it lately?
yeah.
Because it's pretty good. Whereas I can quite comfortably say and easily say, it isn't going to make you happy because I have tried it and it doesn't. It does for a wee period of time.
A very
You get
short
the
time.
initial, You get the honeymoon period, you get the high, especially when buying a new car. It's like, I've got a new car. Everybody looks at the new car. Look at Dundee Properties when we started Dundee Properties.
Yes.
The amount of people that came on to me and said, congratulations. I've not even started anything yet.
We just opened up the page and things and got
Honestly, I just
Yeah.
put on that I've got a new job. Well, it's not a new job. I've got another business that I've added
Yeah.
on called Dundee Properties. And people were congratulating me. At that point, it's like, I've done my service. I've got the
dopamine.
kick. I've got the dopamine kick out of it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think I'm going to start another one because this is great. This is a great feeling. It's like, I'm not doing anything with it, but everybody seems excited. It's like, it's great. And that's what people seek with
Mhm.
money and with wealth. Some people actually seek that, and they become what we call destructive behavior, because they'll destroy themselves every single time in order to get appreciation like that. And for
that's
me,
where
it's like, and to be honest, I didn't really want to even put like on any of their posts, but I thought I better just to be polite. That's all. But I never went, oh, thanks very much, and all the rest of it. And somebody else actually says, oh, you need to get another gold jacket. And I went, ha, obviously, because that's why. Same branding.
That's where the Instagrammers come from. It's like, that's where they're getting that. And every post they put up and all these reactions and everything, they're getting to it every time they put them up. That's what's coming.
And that's why they're doing it. They love the adoration, or what they think is the adoration. They love the people thinking they're wonderful. They love people congratulating them. But honestly, I would have rather everybody said to me good luck rather than congratulations.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
because good luck does make sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas congratulations is like you've achieved something already, and you've already got that. So you tend to find some people actually do things like that. We know somebody like that. It started on the Wealth Creation Show in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It did that, didn't it?
Yeah.
It started there. Oh, I'm going to start my new letting agency, and go. Oh, well, congratulations, congratulate. Where is it? It's non-existent. It never appeared.
No.
And I see that out of quite a lot of people over the years. I've seen that when I've talked to them, and it's like they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and they're going to get started in this, and they're going to get started in that, and everybody goes, "Oh, that's fantastic, that's great," and that's great. You encourage people to do that, but they never go ahead and do it, and that's the reason why, because they accept the praise as the recognition that they've achieved it already, and they don't need it anymore because that's what they were doing it for.
Yeah.
By doing that, you're almost killing somebody's dream. By congratulating them for starting. It's like, no, just say, good luck.
Good luck, hope it goes well. And
I'm sure you'll be brilliant at it. That's all. Do not congratulate people on just starting. Congratulations, getting a new job. Oh, yeah, I'll need to start another job next month because this is great. It's like I could just jump from job to job and get really good recognition every single time. Believe it or not, there's people out there that do that. Just for the thrill and the recognition, starting new jobs. We get their CVs, don't we?
I couldn't imagine. I mean, we've worked together for such a long time now, but and I love what I do, but I couldn't imagine starting all over again doing something else. I mean, do you know what? I don't know, but people are different, I suppose.
There's a driver in somebody's mind for the recognition. I think it actually does that, and this thing comes back to the lifestyle and the legacy, and what they want to leave. And you're not going to leave jack shit, believe it or no, if you're a serial starter upper, not an entrepreneur. That's a serial starter upper has not to be confused with a serial entrepreneur. A serial entrepreneur starts something up, builds it, and sells it off and makes a fortune.
Yeah. And
then starts another thing, and starts multiple companies, and they've got multiple companies in different areas. A serial starter upper is somebody who starts it up and then just basically falls by the wayside, and they start something else up, and then they start something else up because they get so excited about starting things up all the time, and they get so much recognition for starting things up all the time, but they never actually get any traction or anything. There's a well-known phrase which has been time after time said to us, and it's called, "A rolling stone gathers no moss." And I used to think, what did my dad keep saying that to me for? And what he meant out of that was, really, if you keep doing it all the time, you're never going to get any traction. You need to stay where you are at some point in time and build on top of it. build some experience, build some expertise. Then, when you've got that, go and do something that builds on top of that. And then this is why we say to people, hey, you could start at the bottom with us or wherever it is, entry level, wherever level you start. And if you're inquisitive enough, if you're creative enough, if you're a driver in a certain area and you've got the skill and expertise and you show the promise and you're prepared to educate yourself all the time and learn all the time, then the world's your oyster. One day you could literally be running this company.
Yeah.
And that's no kidding. Or running one of the other companies that don't exist just now.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that, for me, there's nothing better than that. Imagine when you create something from absolutely nothing. That is what capitalism is all about. Creating something from nothing, which adds value to other people's lives, including your own.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when we talk about lifestyle versus legacy, and whether you're well into your investment or wealth creation journey, or you're just starting out, do you know, your plan might be, I want to leave a legacy, or it might be that you want to just live comfortably, or you might be one of these people that, do you know, I'm going to make all this money and I'm going to enjoy it all. We've explored all three kind of avenues today. But I think the legacy thing, and especially for you and what you've been building over the years, Jim, is you definitely want to leave that legacy. And arguably, leaving a legacy might not all just be about the money and the material possessions. And maybe a legacy can be like the sum of what maybe your life's taught you and what your life's taught others, and how you make others feel about themselves.
That's got to be the most important thing to me, Richard.
Yeah.
The most important thing to me is what am I teaching other people around about me?
Yeah.
People that are actually watching me, what am I teaching them?
And
I don't know who these people are. It's somebody that's maybe watching this right now.
Yeah.
What am I teaching them that they can do? I'm basically trying to tell them that they could, if I could do it, they could do it.
Yeah.
That's what, and I keep saying that time and time again. If I could go from homeless, unemployed, with no formal qualifications, really, and then get to where I am right now, and they can start with that advice and expertise and not making the mistakes I've made, because I've made them and they could learn from them, then how far could they get? Oh my God, it could be stratospheric.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
that, for me, is the legacy I'd want to leave. Not the money, really. The money is a byproduct of what you do really well. That's all. It's the legacy. Because if you, it's the money is easy. The money is the easy bit, by the way. And everybody goes, oh my God, really? Yeah, the money is the real easy bit. It's the old adage. Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish and he'll fish and eat for life.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we're teaching people to fish. And that is the greatest legacy you could ever leave anybody. The next generation after that, the generation after that, the generation after that, and the generations to come have all started from you and what you've done. People you've helped, you don't even know. I mean, look at, we'll talk about Richard again, Richard Branson.
Yeah.
It's like, look at the amount of people he's helped. He's never even met them. With the books he's written, the podcasts he's done, Bezos as well, and Musk. It's like Musk. God, if Musk could do it, anybody could do it. If Trump could do it, oh my God, there's no excuse for anybody if Trump could do it. Come on.
Yeah.
Look at
you're absolutely right.
Is it Wojciech? The guy with no arms and no legs.
Wojciech, I think it is.
Yeah. It's like, my God. He jumps into the water, swimming about in the water, and it's like, my God, I'd be terrified of drowning. And he's like, aye, hey, what? It's like, if he could do it, what's your excuse?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Him doing that teaches others that God, well, if he could do it, I could. And it's all about, you think about maybe what matters or what's important to you, and then maybe how it might be important for you to then leave it behind, and that really is all about what a legacy is, I suppose. So
nailed it.
Yeah.
Could have just started with that bit and finished the show.
we could have just finished it with that last line, but no, that was really good. And I think that really insightful today. And thanks for anyone who's watching and anybody's watching on the reruns. Please jump in the comments if you've got any questions about what we were talking about today and what maybe your take on legacy is, or where you are in your journey. We'll always catch up with the comments if they're on the reruns or whatever. And as usual, Jim, thanks for all your insights. And we'll be back next Monday, 12:30 as usual, for the Wealth Creation Show.
Bye for now.
Good. See you later, Jim.